Welcome to another look at Sunday School Stories, a three-part series where we examine some of the most well-known Bible stories and see how they hold up against history, science, and logic. In this first episode, we're tackling the creation story and the flood of Noah, two of the most famous stories in the Bible, but also two of the most problematic. Let's dive in. Chapter 1, the creation story. The book of Genesis claims that God created the universe in 6 days. Light was created before the sun, plants existed before the stars, and humans were made from dust and a rib. But does this ancient origin story align with what we actually know about the universe? Not even close. The scientific consensus is that the universe is around 13.8 billion years old, with the Earth forming about 4.5 billion years ago. Evolution, not divine command, explains how life developed over millions of years. The fossil record, genetics, and geological evidence all contradict the timeline described in Genesis. But the contradictions don't stop at science. They exist within the Bible itself. Genesis 1 describes one order of creation: plants first, then animals, then humans. But Genesis 2 reverses that order, with humans created before plants and animals. If this were an infallible account of history, why does it contradict itself within the first 2 chapters? Some try to argue that Genesis is metaphorical, but for centuries, it was treated as literal history. And even today, millions of believers insist that the universe is only 6,000 years old, despite all the evidence proving otherwise. Let's move on to another biblical myth that has been thoroughly debunked: Noah's Ark. The story of Noah's Ark is one of the most famous in the Bible. God, angry at human wickedness, decides to flood the entire world. But Noah, a righteous man, is instructed to build an ark and bring 2 of every animal on board. After 40 days and 40 nights of rain, the flood subsides and life starts over. Sounds dramatic, but did it actually happen? No. And here's why. First, there is zero geological evidence of a global flood. If a worldwide catastrophe like this had actually happened just a few thousand years ago, we would see clear signs in sediment layers, ice cores, and historical records from civilizations that existed at the time. But we don't. In fact, civilizations like the Egyptians were thriving right through the supposed time of the flood without ever mentioning a global catastrophe. Second, let's talk about the logistics problem. The Bible claims that Noah brought 2 of every animal onto the ark. That means millions of species, from insects to elephants, all crammed into a wooden boat for over a year. How did they eat? How did they breathe? How did they avoid disease? The story falls apart under basic scrutiny. And finally, there's the mythological connection. The story of a great flood wasn't unique to the Bible. It originates from older Mesopotamian myths, like the Epic of Gilgamesh. The similarities are striking, suggesting that the story of Noah wasn't divinely inspired. It was borrowed. So, what do you think? Do the creation story and Noah's Ark hold up under scrutiny? Or are they just ancient myths? This was just the first part of our 3-part series on Sunday School Stories. In the next episode, we'll tackle the Tower of Babel and the Exodus, 2 more biblical stories that don't line up with history. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. See you in episode 2.